They don't play too much during the season that way, however.
Most of them play summer softball, though. And Moline, in particular, has long had one of the state leading summer softball programs.
They've been outstanding for years in their feeder programs, and it's newer for Maine South because, of course, the Chicago area has so much slow pitch. Pollard calls it, makes the grab, calls off the first baseman. Nice play.
Pollard again gets a good start. Calls the first baseman off, keeps her eye on the ball, and slides into the fence area. And that's a technique taught to players. If they're going to run into something, they're taught to slide.
Well, Tracy Miner was the victim of that fine play, and with 2 outs, this is Chris Pugliani, the designated hitter. She's batting for the pitcher, Meg Lovitz.
Earlier this afternoon, Kathy Restivo was a designated hitter. Coach Kerr alternates his designated hitters.
Chris was given a strikeout by pitcher Martha Wendt in the 2nd inning, her first time up. Comes inside with it, 2-1. Moving that ball around on the plate against Pugliani.
She's going down a little bit more, I believe, Ann.
Here you get to take a look at the motion. And of course, the pitching rules have changed.
That's correct. And the pitching rules sometimes are different at different levels. Some organizations on the college level, for example, allow you to have both 1 foot off. Some require both feet on. The pitching distance at the college level is 43 feet, and in the ASA level and the high school level is 40 feet.
Quite an adjustment for a girl going from high school to college.
It certainly is.
Full count, 2 outs on Pugliani. Fouls it off. Ooh, a shot. Mike Dinas, the assistant coach, just barely got out of the way.
Coach Mike Dinas works with Coach Kerr in basketball also. In basketball, Don Kerr is the assistant. In softball, he's the head.
They see a lot of each other over there. That's a lot of months.
And they're still speaking.
There you see Mike Dinas in the background as Martha Wendt prepares her windup. Line shot to right center field. Nice hit by Pugliani.
On the replay, the ball was on the outside corner. She took the ball right where it was pitched.
Unfortunately for Maine South, those hits that they've had have all been after 2 are out. So let's see if they can capitalize on this right now as Jenny Smith comes up to bat. Ball low.
Plus, they haven't gotten the gapper, the long one in. And in all the games this afternoon, somebody hit a gapper at some time.
Maine South is primarily a singles kind of hitting club, but they do have some power needed, but they've been able to string them together. And they're also a big inning kind of ball club. Just to get here, they were down 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th, and they scored 8 runs to win it 8-1 to bring them downstate.
They have good running speed and play very aggressively, and that will break ball games open when you least expect it, sort of like the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team.
We haven't seen the situation yet, but on a first to third bunt situation where the bunt goes down and the runner goes to first, that won in the ball game today.
Yes, they go for third more than they stop at second.
Foul ball out of play. An assist from one fan to another, and he throws it back in. Don't get to keep them here. It's not like Wrigley Field or the St. Louis or Comiskey. I guess we better get everybody. How about Busch Stadium down in St. Louis?
Right. I think we've got all the Midwest fans covered now.
Ground ball to Pollard. And she's out. 4-3, retiring any chance ahead of scoring in this half of the inning. So after half of 4, it's 1-0 Moline. You look at the Maine South Hawks, and we'll be back. Bulls and the Blackhawks stay with Sports Vision all season long. Our next White Sox game on Sports Vision is Wednesday at 7:30 when the Sox host the world champion Minnesota Twins. Join John Rooney and Tom Bachorek for all the action Wednesday at 7:30, only on Sports Vision. Chicago's winners on cable. I tell you, speaking of good things and winners, this crew that puts on this tournament is just that. The success for conducting this tourney is the fact that there are very little changeover in personnel during the 13 years of this tournament. The press box, the Park District, the Pekin High School, the buildings and ground personnel, the announcers, the trainers, the scorekeepers, everybody comes back to make this a great tournament, and it makes the job so much easier when everybody knows the job they're doing and is doing it so well. Of course, the head of that crew is Barb Waddell from Pekin High School, the tournament director.
You know, with this being such a good softball town, you get a lot of softball experienced people to work the tournament, and that's been a big help, I think, down through the years.
Well, I always love coming to play here. It was always giving little shivers and excitement because it's just a beautiful place to play. There you see Martha Wendt leading off here in the bottom of the fourth, a count 2-1 on her, trying to help out her own cause.
Trying to ensure that she goes undefeated on her senior year in high school.
Right up the middle, right at Lobitz. That's the second one, hit at her, but this one she fields cleanly and goes to first for the out. So Martha put out from pitcher to first.
Here's the replay of Lobitz's pitch. Quick reactions. Even though the ball was hit at her leg, she got it. She short-armed the throw a little bit again. She, I think, has a little lack of confidence in that overhand throw, but it was a perfect throw to first. Lobitz is really quite agile for a girl her size.
We know she's got a good arm because she used to be a third baseman. Throws that one in for a strike and gives it to Tacey Myers, the senior center fielder.
Lobitz, like anyone that reaches this plateau, is a very good competitor under pressure.
Fly ball, Cyprian calls for it, squeezes it for the out. 2 down.
In talking with Coach Don Kerr before the game, he said when he first started coaching, he felt the northern part of the state was a little bit behind in softball, but no more. He feels that through pitching clinics and things like that, they have caught up with the central and southern part of the state.
Well, Don's been instrumental in getting kids together, kind of like an all-star summer kind of team, so that different kids from different schools can play fast pitch. Skips in. Ball 1 to Sue Smalley, the right fielder. Sue was out from the second to first last time, a ground ball. Two down here in the bottom of the fourth. Moline up 1-0. I'm Ann Penstone along with Lori Ramsey bringing you all this action from beautiful Mineral Springs Park in Pekin, Illinois. High and outside, 2-0.
You know, Ann, it looks to me like Meg Lobitz is working a little slower between pitches, and I think that's really a pretty smart thing to do. I think she realizes she has to be careful. I think it's easier for her to pitch by pacing herself like this.
She thought about that one and brought it right in, 2-1.
Your average softball game lasts about an hour and 15 minutes, which is a stark contrast to your average baseball game.
Out to Tracy Miner, a little bit of a hop, digs it out, and that's going to retire the side. So on the ground ball, 1, 2, 3, we're out of that inning. And it's still 1-0 Moline. We'll be back right after this. After the fourth, so we're getting ready for the top of the fifth. As you see, the visiting Maine South Hawks ready to come up to bat. They're down 1-0.
You notice no one sitting down on the bench. During the regular season, you'll see people sitting on the bench, but not during tournament time. We were watching the benches today, and most of them were standing up when their team was at the plate.
Well, Moline's not following the pattern right now.
Moline has the lead. They're probably a little more confident right now, but that can change very quickly.
Well, Maine South was down both of their games in this tournament, came back to win. They don't really get nervous about that. They say that they're a big inning ball club, and it's no problem. So Denise Dorr is going to lead it off, the first baseman. High from Martha Wendt.
Dorr, a 343 hitter on the season and a very fine defensive player.
Last time at bat, she was a strikeout victim. Right, low and outside, nice pitch from Martha Wendt. 1-1.
The last time these two teams met was last year in the Streeter tournament, and Moline had a 2-0 lead in the third inning, and they were rained out.
A little bit of ahead on that pitch. 1-2.
Maine South still having trouble with that rise ball from Wendt.
A lot of teams have had trouble with that rise ball from Martha Wendt. Fouled back over the backstop. Had a good look at her.
She's slowed down a little bit too in the time she takes to deliver the ball between pitches.
She's only had about 3 hours rest since her 11 inning stint too. A lot of major leaguers wouldn't do that for $1 million.
You'd have to talk to their agent. There's a pitch, the old rise ball again, right at the borderline of the strike zone. Probably not quite in the strike zone, which I'm sure is exactly what she wanted.
It's a good angle to see for the fans to see the hip action of the pitcher too as she comes through on her stride.
Right.
That brings up Karen Walker. Karen also had a little difficulty in the second inning with Martha Wendt. No shame certainly in that. Martha's average, as you said, 1 strikeout an inning. Karen looking to avenge that right now, and a good hitter, 333.
Wendt's strikeout total in this tournament, she had 10 in 7 innings against Pekin. She had 7 this afternoon in 11 innings against St. Francis at Joliet.
Boy, she got a hold of that one, but just a little bit ahead and cranked it out of the field on the left side. Whoa, she got all of that ball.
There's nothing worse than a rise ball that doesn't rise.
Unless you're the hitter who hits it. And there's not a lot of foul territory out there either, so pretty much things that go inside the park are usually fair in this park. 2-1 the count. She looks at it, goes high. So rose a little much. Karen looks over at Don Kerr. Of course, they look every pitch, always on top of it, asking them to be very alert.
Walker is a very selective hitter. I've noticed that about her. She doesn't chase the ball very often.
There's some question about the count. Karen asked the home plate umpire. He's going to check and see what the first base umpire has. They all agreeing it looks like that it's 3-1. So with the count 31 and 1 out, a third base ump seems to disagree. And Moline coaches are over there pointing him. So everybody's going to check on it here and we'll get a decision.
Maybe we'll vote on it, Ann.
Of course, it'll be the home plate ump's desire. Now the second place ump is signaling 2-2. Home plate umpire says 2-2, so that'll be our official count. William Thompson, the home plate ump, gets some help from his men in blue.
Don Kerr said his players were extremely intelligent. It looks like they know what the count is.
Out to left, tough play. Oh! Hausman makes another good grab. The backhanded stab of the liner by Walker.
Hausman is an acrobat. She's been an acrobat this entire tournament, and she does it again.
Right off the bat, takes a good look at it. Hausman being fairly deep after that foul ball, so she had to come in quite a ways and make that.
She certainly did, and you notice her first step was in. I think she's having a good time out there. She's one of those players that wants you to hit every ball to her.
Back to the top of the order here in the top of the 5th. This is Sandy Soder. Sandy flied out to the catcher and had single in the 3rd. So let's see what she can do. That was after 2 outs. Let's see if the same thing occurs here. Sandy, a good contact hitter. Nice liner to right field in the 3rd. Up high on that.
Up and in. Up and in.
Called a strike, so we're 1-1, so she must come around a little bit.
Hausman's playing her fairly deep in left field. Center and right are relatively shallow.
Out to right, gone that way forward. Nice catch out there. That's Sue Smalley, the right fielder, snags that one and retires the side. So after a half inning in the 5th, it's still 1-0 Moline. The broadcast rights to this game have been granted to Sports Vision by the IHSA solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction or other use of this program without the consent of Sports Vision or the Illinois High School Association is prohibited. Well, Laura, we've got one of those 1-0 ball games you talked about right in the open.
That's right, and I think it may hold. Neither team's mounted much of a threat. We haven't seen really that many long balls hit, and of course both teams have excellent speed in the outfield, and you'll find that the difference between the teams here and not here in many cases, number one is pitching. Number two, the teams that sometimes don't have 9 good players will put a weak player in the outfield, and as always happens on the tournament trail, the balls hit to them and they disappear from the ladder at that point.
Well, actually, hitting, Maine South actually has more hits than Moline, but they just haven't been able to string them together. And as we mentioned before, they've been after 2 are out.
Right. Martha Wendt actually is very tough under pressure. She gave up 10 hits this afternoon in 11 innings, but only 1 earned run and 1 run.
Leadoff hitter Michelle Pollard fouls off the first offering by Meg Lobitz. Both pitchers pitched both games in the last 2 days and are gone all the way so far here tonight.
Most coaches stay with the pitcher that's brought them this far in tournaments.
Michelle grounded out to the shortstop in her only at bat this evening so far. Made a nice catch of a foul ball on the right side.
She has very good running speed, like most of these girls.
Well, she made that ground ball a mystery before it was settled too. Just speed. Speed can do so many different things for you. I know coaches love to have it.
You can't coach speed.
That fly ball to Tracy Miner. Knowing in the high school you get what you got too. You can't go out and recruit it.
And that's not all bad. That means you're forced to coach. You don't spend your time recruiting.
There are very few things that are as rewarding as coaching young people, and I know that I've done this at the high school level for years. It's wonderful, and you've done both that and at the college level, and it's something you never forget.
Well, you have some real lows, but you have many more real highs.
It's always emotional and never predictable.
I always say it's an emotional elevator. You're up 1 minute and down the next, from the penthouse to the basement.
Ducking out of the way is the designated hitter, Monica McLaughlin.
Both these teams are very well coached, and neither coach coaches just softball. They coach other sports also. Coach Bob Seitz of Moline is also the assistant football coach and the sophomore girls basketball coach at Moline High School.
It takes a lot of people to keep our high school athletic programs going. And there's a shot off Denise Doerr's glove, and McLaughlin singles her second straight hit. Now McLaughlin singled in the bottom of the third and scored the only run so far.
Takes the outside pitch right down the line. And first baseman Denise Doerr, who was playing in to guard against the bunt, couldn't react in time. That's a real tough thing to do from that distance. Try it sometime from about 40 feet.
So with 1 out, McLaughlin on base. As we mentioned, she scored the only run so far here tonight. And she's going to be trying to be advanced right now by Lisa Hausman, the left fielder and the leadoff hitter, coming to bat. Lisa had a sacrifice the last time at bat and a single in the first inning, so she's 1 for 1.
McLaughlin's been extremely productive today for a number 9 hitter, batting in a run in the game before this, getting 2 hits in this game.
She's also the designated hitter, so it makes you as the coach look like a real genius.
Which all coaches need, because not too many people tell them they're geniuses.
2 balls, no strikes, 1 out. Fakes the bunt. Everybody comes, but nothing happens. So we've got a 3-0 count. There you look at McLaughlin over there on first base.
She uses what's called the rocker leadoff, where you have 1 step behind the base, and it's a timing type thing. You really have to get that first step in while the pitcher's in the act of releasing the ball.
Well, the first walk issued here today, and that one issued to Lisa Hausman. So we've got runners on first and second, 1 out, and the young lady who hit a shot down hit the third base for a single and had the RBI. Courtney Sigler, as Coach Don Kerr goes out to talk to his troops.
This is not Sigler's first appearance in this tournament, and as a matter of fact, she was the all-tournament selection last year in the 1987 tournament as a designated hitter before she moved to shortstop this year. Her college plans include Indiana State.
Well, she's a definite pull hitter from what we've seen in the tournament, and most of them are liners.
Right.
She's got some power.
Well, she's got power and she's got good running speed. She hit 277 on the season. In softball, they say batting averages usually run 100 points below baseball batting averages by comparison.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they bunt to advance both runners and bring up Stacy Power. She's swinging away, and another shot down the left field line. Picked up nicely. Comes into third. They allow the run to score and hold her to a single. Great shot by the pull hitter Sigler right down the line in the line.
Ball's over the outside part of the plate. Goes right down the line. Outstanding play in left field to stop that ball. Rounds the base there.
And there goes Monica McLaughlin scoring her second run. Drew the throw only to third base. Sandy Soder had a little trouble getting up after that nice stop.
They really didn't have a play at the plate. They did the smart thing in heading off another run at third.
That ball gets away from Jenny Smith, and the runners advance. Tough pitch to handle.
Well, the low pitch, of course, is the hardest pitch for a catcher to handle, and it's very hard to move laterally out of that stance back there.